We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Well. What do we have here? Oh man. Shakur Stevenson, undercard. Devin Haney, undercard. The double feature undercard. Turki Al-Sheikh ring. I'm gonna talk about everything in this video. Now, I see people in my comment section and they are suddenly crying. They was crying in it. They was making all these feminine women noises and gestures. They were ooh, like that. They was crying in there, right? Now all of a sudden they crying in Boxing Ego as if the best in the business, and it's not even close, did not warn you of certain things in the boxing game. Man, I'm good. So the bottom line is this. These are the facts. Devin Haney is fighting on Ryan Garcia's undercard, right? Shakur Stevenson, another Black American fighter who's undefeated, fighting on Edgar Berlanga's undercard, right? And I've seen people express their opinion and feel a type of way about that, because when you're looking at it, mostly with Shakur, you know, because Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz, let's be real. Hamza Shiraz should have lost his last fight against Carlos Adames. That's my honest opinion. I don't know the guy. I don't know either of them. I've never met him, but I always keep it real. Berlanga, he got a win after the Canelo loss, but he's one fight removed from a Canelo loss, but he did get a win and a quick knockout. And so at least he picked up a win. But the world as we seen it, Hamza Shiraz at 160 really should have lost to Carlos Adames. And Turki was doing everything in his power to kind of save Hamza Shiraz from getting an L. And then the judges saved him by giving him a draw, which real boxing fans, we know what it is. We know what time it is, right? And I made videos about this, right? Turki going into the corner, I said it was not a good look. Just because you're the organizer of the event, you don't want it to look so apparent. He's a Muslim fighter. You're a Muslim man. You're in a Muslim country in Saudi Arabia. You're trying to attract more and more fights and put Canelo's fights. You don't want it to look like you have a horse in the race when you're the organizer and you're fronting the money. You know what I mean? Because you didn't go to Carlos Adames's corner because he spoke on it. And Adames says that it wasn't really ethical. You know what I mean? So you have a fighter from the Dominican Republic who's with PBC. He's the champion. And some people lied and said it was open scoring. That's cap. If what Turki did was open scoring, then you notify both corners, the red and blue corner, of the score. You don't just tell one person and urgently insist that they try to go for the knockout because they're down and try to game up only one corner. That is not how open scoring is supposed to work. So I made the content and I made the video, and the usual suspects did not speak on it, right? They didn't speak on it. They didn't see, they're like, oh man, you're tripping, whatever. A lot of people didn't talk about it, but your boy Ego did. And I warned you, I said that's dangerous because Turki, being the head honcho in charge of the show, you would probably want to watch that because it comes across as an insane bias and almost unfair. And now it carries on to this. Berlanga, not so much, but Hamza Shiraz, he's a fighter from the UK, doesn't have a big name at all. And with him and Berlanga, you think that is more deserving of the main event than Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda, right? But the Shakur Stevenson Zepeda fight has kind of been going on longer than the whole situation with Hamza Shiraz. People didn't even know Hamza Shiraz is moving up to super middleweight. He's done nothing there. But since that's Turki's boy and he's an ambassador for Ring or Riyadh season or whatever, then it looks like he's getting preferential treatment and they're looking after him. And when you're in charge of the money, like Turki is, it is what it is. I mean, he could do whatever he wants, technically, if he's the front man. And that's leading me to today's video, which is I got people in the comment section crying about it, and I've warned you about this stuff, so I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because I've already objectively looked at this, and you guys are just now catching up and seeing the problem when you have almost a dictatorship. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson, he spoke out of turn, kind of said some things against Turki, immediately was forced to apologize. And then now they're saying he's not working with Eddie Hearn and he's working with Lou DiBella and not getting as much money as he thought he was getting, all these types of things. But again, when it's somebody's is footing the bill, they get to call the shots. And Turki sees fit, it's his event, and he's putting up a lot of the money or most of the money or whatever to make these events happen. It's on his show. So the promoters and the fighters have to do exactly what they're being told. And if that entails Shakur Stevenson never becoming a pay-per-view star because they're putting him in with Joe Cordina coming off a loss, the only reason the fight didn't happen is because he got injured, or they're putting him on undercards of Better Biev and Bivol, and now putting him on the undercard, even though he has arguably a better fight with Zepeda than the Berlanga Hamza Shiraz in New York, right? So be it. You guys, this is what you guys said you wanted. And I feel the same goes for Devin Haney. Devin Haney, listen, he was offered a deal to go on BOK Prime, and then he went to the UK, begged Turki. Turki said, I'll mess with you, but you're on Ryan Garcia's undercard. The coverage I've seen has done a lot more highlighting Ryan Garcia. Interviews, like one-on-ones, exclusives, sound bites, different things, media workout. I haven't even seen a Devin Haney media workout, so he's been reduced to the backseat, and he's forced to drop his lawsuit in order to get the Ryan Garcia fight. So to me, I find it funny because, again, this is all stuff that I seen coming a mile away, and I warned you about it, and now people are catching up and like, hey man, what's going on? Da-da-da-da. Ryan cheated and had Osterine in his system. Ryan said some racial remarks about black people and about Muslims, right? Why is Turki putting him on the main event and headlining the Times Square? Like, basically, why is Ryan being rewarded after being suspended? Devin wasn't suspended for any type of going against the grain or failing any kind of test, right? But this is the reality of it. But Tank Davis, it's funny, Ego said the same thing, and so did Tank Davis. Tank Davis said it seemed like a cult over there, and these dudes that are going over there to mess with him, a lot of them, they need Turki, they need the assistance, they need the alley-oop. They're not going to get that type of bread, they're not stars, etc. So they got to do as they're told and, you know, be a part of this cult. And a lot of people got mad at Tank for saying, he even said the picture that they took at the Ring Awards looked kind of weird. It looked like the picture from The Shining at the end of the movie, right? So all in all, these are concepts that I know myself, as well as Gervonta Tank Davis, have already brought up and made public issues and brought up, open the can of worms of these different conversations, and people turned a blind eye to them. Now those same individuals are crying and complaining because they feel it's unfair Shakur is going to be on Berlanga's undercard, right? How can he ever catch up to Tank in terms of star power, even with the good win, when he can't even become a main event, right? So Turki clearly doesn't view him as the star or the guy to beat, because I mean, just think about it. Imagine PBC putting Tank on the undercard of somebody's fight, right? They even put David Benavidez on the undercard of a Tank fight. They would not put a guy like Berlanga, again, who's one fight removed from a Canelo loss, and then the guy he just fought did a 10-year bid in prison and was like unknown and had like 2 fights, low level fights in 12 years, right? They're not gonna, PBC would never put a guy like that on the main event above Tank. But Turki is his program, and you gotta stick to the program. Whatever he says, you gotta rock with it. So it's like, I don't want to hear this crying, because when I was bringing up some of these things, it's like, I'm like, some of these moves are weird. You guys were in love. You were like, Turki's the best. Turki is saving boxing. Everything he does is amazing. This is really what boxing needs. And now people are starting to see and not agree with a lot of the moves. Like, why is Devin on a cheater's undercard? How did Devin get played out of position like that? And like, even with the lawsuit, the Haneys felt a need to do the lawsuit. They said they were standing up for injustice and all the people who've been cheated, and to set a new standard and set a new precedence in boxing. But then Turki's making Devin and his dad drop the lawsuit in order to get the fight made. But like, when has that ever been a thing where the advisor or the organizer tells you something that's outside of the ring? They're the ones that tell you that you need to dissolve the lawsuit. You know what I mean? Like that seems kind of weird. Seems kind of controlling, if you will. But again, that dictatorship, that's what happens when somebody is fronting the bill. You got to just play. And I mean, that's always how it's going to be. Money, cash rules everything around me, you know? And if people got the money and you're in need of the money, you have to listen to what they say and just rock with it. So for me, I'm just taking it for what it is. Shakur's an undercard fighter, and so is Devin. Turki is looking at these guys, and he's like, clearly doesn't see the value of putting them as the main event, because even the last fight with Better Be of Bevo 2, he put Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois. I understand the fight didn't happen because Dubois got sick, and Shakur's fight didn't happen because Floyd Schofield got sick, but it doesn't matter. The flyer and the announcement, the press release already showed you when the fights were intact, the running order of the event, and Shakur Stevenson was on the undercard. He wasn't even the co-main event for that fight. So to me, that tells me a whole lot about his kind of brand value and market value. Turki's like, yeah, I'll work with him. I don't mind that. You know, he can enhance it somewhat, but he's clearly not viewing him like a Canelo. He would never put Canelo on a co-feature, a co-main event. He would never put Tank, if he started working with Tank or a bigger star like that. He's not doing it to Ryan Garcia. He's doing it to Devin and Shakur. And people are seeing it and now complaining and lashing out, if you will, but it's too late. And the other thing I have to admit is I also don't want to hear it, because these fighters chose that. Shakur left Top Rank. He was a free agent. Devin Haney had a free agency too. They are choosing to do business with Turki, with Ring, with Riyadh Season, whatever you want to call it, and get in bed, so to speak, with this organization. So you got to play by their rules, and they're putting up the money. You need somewhere to fight. They have the relationships or the platform, and they're broadcasting it. So you got to just sit back and whatever they say goes. So I don't have this. Some people were leaving me comments and stuff like, oh, I feel bad for Shakur, I feel bad for Devin. Why? This is what they chose. Bill Haney was like, oh, Turki. Turki's the best when he went to the UK for the Ring Awards, right? They were singing his praises and heaping on the praise. So it's like almost like the fans care more than the fighters about where they're placed. Me, I personally think it is a bad look to have guys who are guys you could make into American stars or contemporaries for Tank and things like that. But this, to me, this is not the path that will ever get them there. They'll never be bigger than Tank when you can't even be put on the main event. Because for me, I feel like it's like getting someone to star in your movie. Like, let's say Sinners. That was a big $90 million movie or $100 million movie or whatever, right? Ryan Coogler trusts Michael B. Jordan because they've worked together on several projects. Shout out to the Bay Area. And they've proven that they have a good chemistry and that Michael B. Jordan is bankable, and that team up and the link up actually produces results. So yeah, he's going to put Michael B. Jordan as the main character that has to kind of play two roles in Sinners. Great movie, by the way. Make sure you see it in IMAX if you have one. And he's going to trust him because they worked together on past Black Panther and Creed and stuff like that. So it takes a level of trust. You have to entrust the person to cast them as the very lead of your $100 million movie, $150 million movie, especially if they have to play two roles like Michael B. Jordan did. You know what I mean? Takes a level of trust because they have to carry the film. Boxing main event is no different. You would never see Floyd Money Mayweather on somebody's undercard. Definitely not no Edgar Berlanga. But it just goes to show you the brands are not up for Shakur. People are saying he's boring. People left his fight. Turki sees that and he's probably like, it's business. It's always business. It's never nothing personal, right? So I can't even, I don't even have like a deep take on it. It is what it is. That's my take. You know, Turki's probably looking at the numbers or looking at it and saying, y'all are cool, but y'all are not showstoppers. Stylistically, you know, maybe it's a personal favorite because the way he's treating Canelo and the way he treated and has been treating Terrence Crawford totally different. So I think that could be it. I think Turki just has his favorites, and that's something you got to deal with or be aware of. Hamza Shiraz, he likes him. He's a tall Muslim fighter. He likes his style. He's an ambassador, probably a cool dude. So Turki likes it. He giving him opportunities, right? Now he's still giving Devin and Shakur opportunities, but they on the undercard. You know what I mean? And again, people are crying and complaining, but you got to blame the fighters. Blame them, blame their team. This is what you chose. This was not your only option. You know, Top Rank won a purse bid and they were trying to put Sandor Martin versus Devin Haney on Top Rank on ESPN. And I'm just being real. That seemed like the fight, a great comeback fight, because Sandor Martin hadn't lost to Alberto Puello at that point when they won the purse bid. You would have took a pay cut, but you would have been back in the ring instead of a year plus layoff. And you would have fought a guy who Puello beat. So Devin Haney, I think, has definitely a shot. But now you're fighting somebody who's on a crossroads fight with the Mexican style and Robert Garcia gym, and he has everything to lose, kind of a crossroads fight. It's just a more dangerous fight than need be as a comeback off of the Ryan Garcia fight. So I feel no mercy. I feel absolutely no remorse, nothing for this. Again, I seen a lot of you guys were like, oh, ego. But there is no but. Shakur chose this and Devin chose this. They must like their choices because this is what they're going along with. And Turki, he's the one in charge. He's the one with the money. So if he's showing favoritism, and again, it goes deep. If he's showing favoritism to Hamza Shiraz and he wants Shiraz to beat Edgar Berlanga, guess what? Berlanga, that's something he got to deal with, because that could very well, in my opinion, be the case where even though he's a New Yorker, and to me, if Berlanga won, it would kind of be better because he's a bigger name and he's a good trash talker. And there's future fights with Jamal Charlo, Munguia, Caleb Plant. You know, there's just more ways and more compelling fights, big fights that he can make if he beats Shiraz. But who knows? Turki, like I said throughout this video, Turki has his favorite. He'll probably be pulling for Hamza Shiraz to defeat Edgar Berlanga because that's his boy. You know what I mean? And these are the things you guys got to think about when you make choices and with the business that you do. You got to put that all in perspective. A lot of people don't want to do that. They want the money, and Tank told you. He said all money's not good money. And for me, I just want a fair shake. So I wouldn't want situations like Carlos Adames and then the organizers of the event are trying to root on my opponent and I'm the champion, and it was like you trying to get people to help him, and then the judge scorecards are screwy and stuff like that. I wouldn't appreciate that. I wouldn't like that at all. You know what I mean? But again, this is what happens when you sell your soul. This is what happens when you just do whatever or just go with the money, and not all money is equal. You know, not all money is the same. And I really get a sense that Turki, he conducts business how he wants. He's not going to be talked to or dictated to. You kind of like, I mean, you've seen it. Look, even Canelo to a degree. Canelo was about to fight Jake Paul, right? And he said, listen, the deal we talked about of 3 fights, if you fight Jake Paul, that's off the table. And Canelo decided, in the long run, I could take these cheeseburger fights with Turki and make more money. So I'm gonna bail out on Jake Paul and the Netflix deal because I could take easy fights with smaller people, and these people are willing to pay me crazy amounts of money to do it. And that's what he's doing, fighting William Skull and stuff like that. So I hope you guys got what you wanted, because that's what I've seen in this game. And now people are opening their eyes and crying about it. Oh, why is Devin on the undercard? Shakur has a better fight. Man, Canelo's not fighting in America. I warned you guys. Now notice Canelo's getting ready to fight and there's zero buzz for it. He's fighting out of the country. So the Mexican dates don't even matter when you're fighting abroad, overseas, in a kingdom that doesn't even observe the Mexican date holiday, right? And then Canelo's like, oh, my stipulation is to have the fights come on at nighttime. But people don't even know your opponent. The promotion has been like weak. I haven't really seen any real promotion outside of the press conference that they did for Canelo versus Skull. But you guys are like, go ahead, Turki, take over boxing. You're making everything happen. And now I think people are getting their wake-up call. We unpack. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate. So ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.